Browducation. I'm your host, Megs. I am here today with the lovely Christina, and I'm so excited to have her on. She is SoFi Brows on Instagram, and I'm stoked to have her today. We're going to be talking about a little bit of a different viewpoint of success and having multiple business locations and no employees. I feel like that's a little bit different than we normally see. I'm so stoked to have you here, Christina. You want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you for having me. I am so honored. So, I've been in the industry for about 4 years now, and I started right off the bat just offering eyebrows, just actually brow lamination by itself. No waxing,
Really?
no tinting, no nothing. Yeah. So,
Okay.
I started this off during the pandemic and started from zero, erased my personal Instagram and started from scratch, didn't follow anyone back. And now I'm at 10K followers and it was all organic. We just
I love
grew
that.
along the way. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love that you said that you started like just right into brows because some of us dabble a little bit elsewhere. But
hmm
was there like a point where you like saw somebody's eyebrows and you were like, I have to start doing eyebrows, or were you just like always had a curiosity and you're like, no, this is what I'm doing. I'm just gonna go ahead and dive.
I was actually always a brow girl. You know how
Oh yeah,
there's like brow girls and there's lash girls, right?
yeah,
I was always a brow girl. Like
I
you would
love
always catch me in the mirror just 20, 30 minutes perfecting the brows. And I don't know, I kind of felt like really comfortable in this place. And I started noticing around 2019 that brows were becoming like a huge trend. And it
absolutely.
wasn't just I actually didn't see brow lamination back then. I just saw microblading powder brows, right?
Mhm.
So my friend in LA contacted me and she's like, "Hey girl, like it's booming out here, so you should jump on it." And she knew I was kind of interested in the industry. I just didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I found a trainer in Redwood City and I took the training in June of 2020 and it just started off there and here we are.
I think that's so cool. And also like big ups to that friend because that was I really do feel like that's when brows were taking a turn. And I remember dabbling in microblading a little bit when it was really popping off, but I never had the passion for it the way that I did when lamination came to be. Like lamination is so much more satisfying. It's so much more fun to like perform the service. What
hmm
made you want to offer the lamination without like any shaping or tinting?
So when I took the training, she didn't offer any of that. She
Okay.
just showed me how to laminate and that's it. I wasn't really knowledgeable about anything.
Okay.
Nothing. Just the lamination itself. And I would just ask my clients like, "Do you want me to tweeze you?" And we'd sit there for like 2 hours and like tweeze people and like, oh my God, I'd be like dripping sweat because it's like
Yeah, it's time
know how it feels. Yeah. So they were troopers. Thanks to them. Along the way, I actually enrolled into beauty school. I wasn't aware that you needed a license for this service.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay, okay.
So then I enrolled into beauty school October, and I could not wait for the waxing section of the class, because
Like,
I was like,
who cares about
yes,
anything else? Just give me the laugh.
yes. I'm like, just teach me. That's all I'm here for. I was not there for, facials. I did not care. So yeah, we went over that little section in the book and that's it. Like that's all I needed. And then I went back to work, taking clients and I just started waxing them. I didn't tell them I didn't know how. I didn't say anything. I
I
was
kind
just
of
like,
like that. It's like the whole like Delulu right now. It's just like fake it till you make it. You're like, no, I'm just gonna go in with like, and it says a lot to like
seriously.
just like entering your space with confidence. Like people will trust you, and like I mean,
Mhm.
clearly you're successful, so it all paid off. But I think there's a lot to be said when you're so nervous to do things. You're just like dive in and do it, and like be even if you have to pretend to be confident, just dive in.
Yeah, fake it till we make it. And they had no idea, right? They're laying there with
Yeah.
their eyes closed and I'm like the wax is all stringy and shit all over the place. And I'm like, so
You see the TikTok trend where they're like, do you mind if I wear AirPods? And they put it in. It's like how to wax.
yes, or how to do nails. I did see that. Oh my God. So literally like that, they had no idea. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm gonna just do it. Just like what we're doing today. I'm just gonna
Yeah.
do it and see what happens.
Yeah.
So in beauty school, they did not teach us how to wax.
Mm-mm.
Brows, especially eyebrows, right?
Yeah.
They taught us how to do body parts, but no eyebrows. So
Huh.
yeah, basically taught myself just looking on YouTube videos,
I
looking at other pages, yeah, on Instagram. And
self-taught queen.
at the time, yeah, it was not that big.
Yeah.
Start. I don't know for you, I don't know when you found the service, but in 2020, it was barely taking off.
I agree. I think I found it right around the same time as you because I want to say 2019, 2020, like right around then is when I started. I think it was 2019. But people were very, very hesitant of it. They were not interested at all.
You
They were like,
wonder
I don't know what
why.
this is. I don't know what you're doing. It was also so new to like me, so I felt like odd, like even trying to explain it to them. It was just one of those things that was
Yeah.
so weird. You're like, I don't know 100% about it. It's really awesome. I'm so excited to offer it, but like, how do I describe it? Who is it good for? Like, it was all so new.
I'm still feeling that with my Latina clients. Like I do speak fluent Spanish, but I do not know how to explain those terms in Spanish. So I'm
Yeah,
still stuck on that 4 years later. I still don't know how to speak about it in Spanish. I don't know. It's
no,
just weird.
totally. I mean, I can see that because I mean, it's a complicated process. That's so.
It
I
is.
never thought about that. I only speak one language, so I couldn't even imagine trying to translate it. But even sometimes explaining it in English to people
Yes.
who are unfamiliar, it's tricky. I'm just like, if they're not understanding what you're trying to say, it's super difficult to explain, and you kind of have to,
Yes.
I don't know, struggle through metaphors of trying to figure out what a good example of like what it
Yes.
kind of is. I feel like one time I explained it to like semi-permanent brow gel. I was like, you know how like when you apply brow gel that
Brow
first
gel,
time,
yeah, that's a
yeah,
great
you kind of
example.
have to use examples in order to get that across because it is
Mhm.
hard. And I think as wonderful as it is, trainings have gotten a little bit more like complicated and tedious. So it's not even like you can
Very.
regurgitate what you've learned in a training to somebody. Like you really have to dumb it down for your client, which is a skill.
Yes, that you already know teaching is a whole different thing when it
Yeah,
comes to the
you
service.
educate for in lamination.
I do. Yes, I've been doing this for 3 years now, and
Okay.
I like it. I don't love it because, like
Okay.
you said, it's very complicating, right?
It is.
I
Yeah.
don't think people realize that how much it goes into, first of all, training someone and learning it too,
Yeah.
right? I think I've noticed that a lot in my students when they come in. At the end of the day, they're like, okay, can I like go now? Like, obviously, they don't say that, but they are. I can just see it and I can feel
Yeah.
it. It's a lot to learn in one day.
It is.
And I get very deep into like hair, skin, what we're looking for, you know how it goes. And I don't think they realize that that's what they were going to go learn. I
Yeah.
think they're just going to learn the hands-on part and that's it. And I could go
You're
off for it.
right. Which is
Mm-hmm.
so funny because from like a educator's point of view, or at least my point of view, when I was going to seek out trainings, I would get frustrated if I was trained in the way that you aren't training. Like I would be frustrated if they only walked through like this is a 45 minute of me walking through the video of like me doing the service. I'm like, I can do
Wait,
that.
what?
Like, I don't want to learn. Like I want your tips, I want your tricks, things that you've learned over the time of doing it. I like
Yeah.
different hair types and like what to look for and like skin types and like that's the I don't know, that's the meat of it that I'd want to learn. So I love that
Mm-hmm.
you do that because I do think that like
Yes.
the other way is a disservice to the students and clients, honestly.
And you'll see that a lot. That's
Yeah,
all we're going to say.
yeah. So
That's all
true.
we're going to say.
Yeah. So do you offer in-person trainings or virtual trainings? How does that work for you?
I just offer in person. I
I
have
love
not dabbled into the online space yet, although
it.
I've been saying I was gonna do it. I'm gonna do it this year, last year. I have not had the time.
Totally. It's
And
understandable.
to me, it's like I want to present it like I have high standards for it, right? And I don't want to put something out if it's not gonna match what I do and how I offer the service in person. And that's so
Absolutely.
hard to do.
And it's also hard to, I don't know, there's so many little bits that come organically when you're training. So it's hard to like dial that down and make sure you have it all on paper when you go to like
Yes.
translate it online. So I completely understand that was one of the few things that I've run into plenty of times over my years of training is just like, crap, I totally forgot that. Or I would have said this if this situation. And honestly, sometimes the models, if you have like models when they come in, they can help you remember things. Like if their hair type's a certain way or you run into something funky, it's almost beneficial that they're there because you're like, oh my God, I completely forgot when I'm in that situation,
Yes.
this is what I would do. It's hard to remember all those little things. I
Hmm.
completely understand your side of that.
Especially translating that into a manual itself.
Yes.
So honestly, a lot of those things are not in there for a reason. I
Yeah.
don't want somebody to turn around and go sell that.
Yeah.
There's a reason why my things are not included in there because I want you to be fully in, like present during that training, listening, learning. And if you don't do that, that's going to show later on, right? When you try to offer the
Absolutely.
service, you're
Absolutely.
looking at their stuff and
The other thing too is, oh my god, I just completely lost my train of thought. We were both talking about this earlier before we jumped on, and then you were worried about it. I'm like, that's me. Absolutely. But yeah, I think the translation for in person, and I think there's also just different learning types. And I think somebody's always going to
oh,
prefer to be learning in person than they are online. And I think that also with any type of education, continued education is required. So I think if you sign up
very
for training
important.
thinking that it's the only training you're going to take is kind of not correct. You're going to
Yep,
probably need to continue to learn.
yep.
If you
You
don't
gotta
take
invest
a ton of trainings, like you should be doing your own research. You should be, educating yourself in some
a
caliber.
lot of investment.
Yeah, absolutely. What other brow services do you offer now other than just lamination?
Oh, okay. So now I do offer the full service brow lamination, waxing. When we do waxing, we're shaping as well, right? Those
Mhm.
are two different services for me.
Oh,
And yeah, I have them separately. So I don't like saying basic wax like a wax service because it's not basic,
no.
right? We're doing a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're coming in at 4 weeks, then cool if I've seen you before. But if I haven't seen you before and you're coming to me as a new client and it's 4 weeks that you haven't gotten your service, that doesn't mean you're not a shaping.
Yeah.
You're a shaping because
Mhm.
I need to map you out. I need to see
Yeah.
what you like, right? So I offer that two different services. And
Okay.
then aside from that, I do offer tinting and also staining, which is like the hybrid tint, right?
Okay. Do you
Yeah,
offer just like the hybrid tints that are like formulated in that way, or do you also do henna?
I do not do.
Okay, I don't either. I love that. I love finding art. So, is there any reason that you choose not to do henna?
No, I know that there could be more allergic reactions from
Mhm.
what I heard in the past. I just know, I just haven't. Maybe I should offer it. I don't know. I
Oh,
just
I
haven't
love
thought
that.
of it.
I'm kind of anti henna.
Mhm.
I just had like a hairstylist friend, a cosmetologist friend, and she was like very adamant about like the damage that it can be done, and like if you do any
Oh,
other
yeah.
chemical services on top of it,
Oh,
so she
that's right.
scared me,
Duh. I didn't think of
right?
that.
Totally
Yeah.
scared me, and I was like, after that, I was like, I'm not touching it. So I only do like the hybrid tints too, because I'm like so nervous. Plus, I just feel like there's the formulated in a lab versus like all natural, and I'm always like I'd rather it be formulated. Like the all natural thing always kind of worries me, but that's just the esthetician in me.
Yeah, I don't know why I haven't offered it. I never thought of it.
What's
But
your
yeah, other than that, yes, I do offer lash lifts,
oh
and
okay.
I call it a toxic relationship. Like I don't know, I just don't I'm not as confident as I am as brows.
Mhm.
And yeah, I
Lash
don't know if I
so tricky. I remember when I first started offering them and I was like, this is super chill. Like, I thoroughly understand the mechanics of brow lamination. I should understand the mechanics of lash.
yes.
But then you
Yes.
get in there and I'm like, lashes are a whole other beast. Like that I don't understand what the process is. It's just getting them like the proper wrap around the rod or shield and
Yep.
the proper shield or whatever. All of those little steps that are so and it's so freaking tedious. Like I always thought brows were zoomed in, but I'm like, damn, lashes are a whole other
I just don't understand why I keep offering it.
right.
Like I said, it's like it's a toxic relationship. Like I get a client, it comes out beautiful. I'm like, "Oh my God, yes." And then
Right.
like I get a difficult one and I'm like, "Fuck this." Like I don't want I'm done. I'm done. And I always tell my husband, he's like, "Then why are you still offering it?" I'm like, "I don't know." Because clients will ask for it. And what am I going to say? No? My
It's such
God.
a fun combination with lamination too. Love, like I'm so stressed the entire, I don't hate them. I'm so stressed the entire process
Yes.
of the combo. I'm just like, it's so moving parts at once, but the result is so
Yes, that by itself, the combos are really good money, but I'm
good.
literally dripping sweat. I'm sweaty, I'm hot. I'm like, oh my God.
Barely able to hold a conversation with the
Four
client.
timers going on at once. Yes, I'm like, please go to sleep because I
She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, thank God.
stay asleep. Yeah. Oh man.
Okay, so one of the things that we had talked about before coming on today was that you just opened your second location, which is so
I
exciting.
did. Yes.
Congrats to you.
Thank
And I remember
you.
seeing it online and I was so curious. I was like, are you doing employees? Like, what's your situation? So, for our listeners, what is your kind of landscape as far as having two locations? Is it just
Locations.
you or do you have employees or what's going on with that?
No, so the main reason why I opened another location is because I moved. So I recently moved. I'm about an hour away from my Fremont location, and the commute is insane.
Okay.
Bay Area traffic is crazy.
Yeah.
So I really needed to think like, how is this going to work for my family and I, right? The reason why I started this business to begin with is to be more present and to be there for them. There wasn't a way for me to figure out, like, I can't work 5 days a week in Fremont and
Yeah.
be an hour away with commute. And also the commute is crazy. It could be up to 2 hours.
That's
So
crazy.
yes. And
Yeah.
our move was so quick. So I had to just jump on the opportunity.
Absolutely.
So I gave myself a month and I said, in a month, I'm going to find another place. And I couldn't just be like, because I do have a whole studio in Fremont that I also sublease to other artists with my business partner, but then I can't do that in a new city.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the reason why it's not smart to just open up a whole studio and jump right in and is because I don't have clientele over here.
Yeah.
Right? We're starting from scratch. We're starting
Yeah.
from zero once again, but I'm also bringing all my experience into a new place. It is working very well. I'm actually just renting a room from another hair salon. And the reason why I decided to do that, although it's not my main goal, it's just a stepping stone in this city because there's a lot of foot traffic in that salon.
That's awesome.
So yeah, so I'm like, I had to think of all these little things. I'm like, wait, if I, just open a place, I need to, yeah, it was just gonna be a lot.
Yeah.
So this has been working out very well. Like I said before, when I first started, I started from scratch, and this time around, I've had 22 clients in July, and I just opened.
That's incredible.
So yeah, so for other people, it might not be a lot, but I started with one client a week.
Yeah.
So
You
for
go
20
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, it's not happening super fast, but we're getting there,
Yeah.
So, and I'm
Totally.
okay with that. I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
Now, are you
So,
going to keep your Fremont location as it?
yes, and that was obviously one of the things. Like my clients, the moment I said I'm moving, I'm buying a house, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
No,
They're
where are
like,
you going? And I was like, oh my God, what do you mean you open a second location? I'm like, yes,
yeah.
hold up. Let me explain. I will not be leaving my Fremont location. I'm messing around with my schedule at the moment. For August, I'm doing 2 full days just so I can see, how it's going to work.
Yeah.
I'm more flexible in this location because it's 5 minutes from my house.
Yes. I
So,
love that. Yeah.
so I could
Which
just
is
run there.
for when you're building, because like when you're, I mean, the distance makes no sense when you're like, I'm going in for one person, but you're
Yes.
only doing that commute for like a booked clientele, and then you can pop in when you need to. That's kind of the ideal situation.
Yes.
I
So
love.
that's see all these little things you need to think about that
Yeah.
I don't feel like a lot of people think that way when you first start off. And also you have to be very flexible when you first start your business, right? Unfortunately, you have to work these odd hours and the weekends and the holidays because you don't have clients.
So true.
So, yes, and a lot of people go into this industry,
Yeah, and
right?
it's gonna be humbling going backwards too, because you've already done this. Like
Yes.
you've done this once
Yes.
before, so going back is really hard, especially when you have an established clientele. Like
Mhm.
so close. I know it's like a commute and everything, but you're like, I do technically still have it. Like it's not hasn't gone anywhere.
Yep, I still have my job, which I
Yeah.
love. That's I don't want to say my backup plan because it's
No.
definitely not, but
Yeah.
yes, it's still there. I got nothing to worry about. This over here, I'm gonna start it slow, and we're gonna, yeah, like you said, we're working backwards, but this time around, I'm working with experience.
Absolutely,
So,
which is
mhm,
gold. Yeah, you
yeah.
cannot trade that for the world. That's so true. I love it because I do feel like for so many of us, having two locations is massive. Like I mean, that's such an incredible accomplishment, and it's so unique in the way that I feel like most of us would assume that you had to have some sort of staff in order
Oh
to
yeah,
make it happen. But
yeah,
the other thing that we talked about before coming on was
yes.
that neither of us want to be employers, and I feel like that
No.
is rare in the industry, and I kind of want to talk about that a little bit because I think that we're maybe a little bit in the minority there.
Yeah, I definitely do not want employees. Who knows? It might change in the future, but my background, I used to work in a business office in a lot of car dealerships, and just working around a lot of women can be very dramatic. A lot of drama going on, and I don't mix well with that because I'm not that person, right? I'm just very personable. I get along with everyone. I'm just there to work,
Yeah,
and I don't like that. Obviously, right now I am around a lot of women, but I'm not their boss, and everybody, right? And we get along very well because of that, because we do whatever we want
yeah,
whenever we want. So then aside from that, my dad owned two businesses back in the day, and I helped him with both, and it was a lot to manage. So that's where I get my business experience from his businesses. But then at the same time, I saw how hard it was because I had to do HR, I had to do payroll, collecting hours,
yeah,
payroll taxes, all of those little things is
totally.
what, like, you
Funny, my dad actually owns 2 businesses, or he's
does
out.
he?
Yeah, so that's so funny. Like, do you feel like we got that behind the scenes a little bit of like
Mhm.
a realness because I think there's a lot of like dreamland around entrepreneurship and owning your own
Oh
business.
yeah.
There's so much fluff around it and like all this freedom and like all
Yes.
of these things, all these promises essentially. Like you can do all of these the X, X, Y, Z. Like maybe we got lucky being able to see the grit that goes into it, like the hard stuff, the sweat,
Definitely.
tears that actually go into owning it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Think it makes you more comfortably solidified in your decisions when it comes to things like that. Like I really truly don't ever see myself having employees. And I think it's exactly from those lessons that like I didn't realize I was learning as a kid or like, watching all of that transpire. So I love that you said that because that's so funny that we have such a similar.
Yeah, we can relate.
Yeah.
Yes, and still till this day, he closed one business, and I was so happy for him because I was so stressful. And now till this day, he still has a business, and my sister and my brother work in it, and I still hear it. So stressful.
Yeah.
Dealing with people, firing people, people not showing up. No one wants to work nowadays.
Yeah, no, I know. It sounds so cliche, but it's crazy.
Yes.
It's wild to see so many people like searching and then people on the like I see both sides of it and it's so weird to be so divided of people not able to find work and then people in work and not just not doing anything. It's so wild to me that we're at this just a weird landscape. It makes me thankful to not be in
Yes.
the normal employment field.
Yes, I love it. I love not having to be in that anymore. So yeah, that's the reason I'm like, nope, not for me. I'll help you.
Yeah,
If
right.
you need advice, I'll give it to you, but will I do it? No.
Yeah. Do you have any plans to do any like type of because you're already in education? Do you plan to like coach or do anything like that?
I would love to. The only thing is I haven't been able to sit down and put together what I'd be coaching because I have so much, like we all do, right? Especially we have a successful business. We know a lot. And
Mhm.
I say this to a lot of people around my little circle. I'm like, you already know a lot because look, your
Yeah,
business is thriving.
true.
But that's the hard part is how do we actually put it together to offer it as coaching,
Yeah,
right? A coaching session. So
absolutely.
I would love to. I just would have to figure out
Yeah. No, it's true.
how to put it together.
I think education and coaching, especially right now, because like literally everyone is doing it. I think there's a lot of draw to it, but the logistics are tricky, and they're definitely outside of our wheelhouse. I think we're all a little creative. We're all a little bit attracted to like education. I think that anybody who's running a business, especially in the beauty world, is doing continued education. So I think we have a little bit of attraction there, but the logistics and like running an online business, doing trainings, anything like that is exhausting. It's so much more work than I think we realized.
Yes. And even just ordering supplies,
Yeah,
right? Like, why is it that brow supplies are so, why can't we have a one-stop shop?
I
Why,
know.
right? Like, one of us
Yes,
needs to invent that
I
because
know. And
like,
some places are out of the country too. I feel like there's very rare, like in the
yes.
United States, so like
Mhm.
major, I don't even know, like not manufacturers, but supply centers. Like I don't feel like we really have any.
I thought of it, girl. I'm still,
Yeah,
yeah, because
yeah,
I'm like, there's literally nobody in California. Do you
yeah,
know someone in I know someone in Texas, but they
yeah,
don't offer everything, but there's no one in California that I know
yeah.
of
I
that
think
has
the
a
closest
store.
to Vegas, and she doesn't have everything either. It's true. You got to get
Yep.
on.
I know. And maybe who knows, we'll need employees there, but that would
Mhm.
always just be my family members for now,
Yeah,
right?
Totally. And you have some background in managing kind of the family business like that. So that's
Yes.
awesome.
Yep, but that is something that's very tedious as well. So
Yeah.
many different. Sometimes I'm forgetting, like, oh shit, did I get some scissors for her? Did I get like mapping string?
So
I'll
true.
send it later.
I remember when I first started making kits, I had like a little cue card that went in their kits with a list of their supplies, and I swear to God, I was like, "This is more for me than it is for them." It's like my checklist at the end, making
That's
sure that I
actually
actually put
such
everything
a
there.
good idea. I didn't
Right?
think of a cute what? Okay,
It's
that's
hard
actually
to
such a good
remember
idea.
with so many little things,
Yes.
especially with lamination. I was like, my kits are mainly for threading, and that's so simple and chill. But laminations, there's a lot of different pieces to that. Speaking of threading, do you only offer waxing in your studio as far as hair removal, waxing and tweezing, or do you offer sugaring or threading or anything like that?
I actually do not. I've always been interested in offering threading, but I just kind of gave up on that idea. I don't know.
Any reason?
Hey, it's Emily here from Browfox Beauty. I'm so proud to be sponsoring this episode of Browducation. If you are new here, let me tell you a little bit about Browfox Beauty. We are a professional brow line for the esthetician. We specialize in easy retail for the busy esthetician. We also have a line of better back bar basics so you can be super confident putting pre and post wax solution and massage oil onto your client's skin, giving them the best glow and the best brows yet. You can find more information at browfoxbeauty.com or on social media at browfoxbeauty.
I just kind of gave up on that idea. I don't know.
Any reason?
I feel like just because I have a lot going on right now,
Yeah, yeah, totally.
and to add in something new would mean that I have to really shift my focus.
Yeah,
Have to really learn that again, right?
yeah,
So I'm still trying to learn all this hybrid tint stuff. Like, I
absolutely.
don't know if you have mastered that yet, but I'm still, I don't even
I
offer
respect
that yet.
that a lot because I feel like there's so many, at least not, I don't see it a lot in the more established brow artists, but I feel like the younger ones are they're like, I'll talk to somebody and they're doing like 5 courses at once. And I'm like, girl, one thing at a time. Like, I couldn't do that. And I respect that.
Yep.
Like, I love that you're saying that because it's true. Unless you've mastered it, it's hard to move on to something else.
That's just how I feel,
Yeah, no,
right? Like
I love that.
the way I think it has to be, I need to master it before
Yeah,
I start offering more and more. And people have asked me before, like my clients are like, "Are you going to offer this? Are you going to?" I'm like, "No." Like
yeah,
I'm already booked out with brow laminations. Like what?
like,
No, no, I
yes.
don't want to offer that.
I think it kind of circles back to just like if it's not broke, don't fix it. You know, like
Mhm.
why not?
Exactly.
Why focus on anything else when your cup of tea is working? You know,
Yep. Yep.
I love that. Speaking of your lamination, we kind of touched on it a little bit, but do you have any new trainings or courses that you have coming out anytime soon, or are you just kind of focusing on the lamination?
No, I do offer waxing on its own if they
Okay.
want to. Some people have asked me for a waxing and tint training by itself. I haven't done that one yet, but yeah, I'm always willing to break it up because I already have it all together in
Yeah,
one manual anyway. So it's easier to just get some sections and just teach them that. But
absolutely.
yeah, most people that come to me for inquiries want the full thing.
I
Like
agree.
they want to offer the full thing. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Makes the most sense, I feel like, too. Why not? You're already gonna end up probably doing all of it at
Yes.
this point. Might as well just like
Yep.
dive in.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Now, for waxing, are you a soft or hard waxer?
I love soft wax. And it's
Yeah.
funny, I was just listening to your podcast with Brown Fox, and you guys were talking about that. And she has a really good point about how she likes them more natural, fluffy looking.
Mhm.
Honestly, I like that too.
Yeah.
I feel like my clientele likes a certain look and they come to me for that, but I'm all about a fluffy, undone
Yeah.
model brow look. I love that
I
look. But
love it.
yeah, I always cater to what the client wants, right? So they
Absolutely.
like a more, yeah, precise looking, sharp
Yeah.
brow. So yeah, I actually love soft wax. I love it. It is a little bit like nerve-wracking, right? When you're dealing with clients that are using certain products
Yes.
and the lifting of the skin. Oh my God.
How is that landscape? Because I feel like people are using more products than ever before as far as
Yes, they are.
things like that. It's a difficult thing to navigate. How are you doing so?
I'm very strict on it.
Good. I love that.
Yes, the moment they're like, "Yes, I'm using it," I'm like, "Okay, well, obviously I have to ask them a few questions, right? How's your skin type? Like, are you dry? Are you oily? How often do you use it and stuff like that?" But I'm very strict with it. Like, I'm like, "No, I can't wax you. Go
Yeah.
get threaded. Go get
Yeah.
threaded and come back."
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah.
How would you, if they were to be like, would you still like laminate and tint them and then have them like get hair?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. I love
Mhm.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Ever do like a whole tweeze for a brow anymore, or do you kind of steer clear?
Not really. On my description on my services, it literally says on there, does not include tweezing,
Okay.
nothing else, just the lamination by itself. So most clients that book that should already know
Yeah.
that I don't offer that. So come with a clean brow. If it's like a few hairs here and there, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I don't actually don't offer tweezing services like that anymore.
I love that. I know that some people are kind of like they get spooked and they're like, "Oh, I don't know how to like navigate this," but I like that you're stern with it because I think sometimes clients could kind of walk all over us and we're like, "Cool, I just spent an extra 30 minutes like tweezing your brow because I panicked and like you can't get this." You know what I mean? Like I
I
feel like
mean,
we get kind of pushed into a corner at times.
I'm not gonna lie, there are, times when things like that happen. And I'm like, damn it. Or
Right.
for example, say you do lift a client. What do you do with the next brow? That just happened to me a little bit ago.
Yeah, how
So
did you
I'm
handle
like
that situation?
tweezing the other brow a little bit. And she had a lot of hair, and I was just like, I can't. I'm not gonna do the full brow. This is gonna hurt.
Yeah, right? So did you just how did you handle that?
I just left it. I kind of got closer to the actual shape, tweeze a little bit of that. Honestly, I feel like I that's when threading would obviously come into place. Like it would help a lot if I knew how to thread. I don't know. I just haven't
No, I
done.
totally get it. I was just curious because I feel like that we've all been in those situations, so I'm always just like, how would you have handled it? Because I just think that is
Uh,
tricky.
it is very hard. Do you love threading?
I love threading. My clientele is like probably 99% threading. I probably wax like one pair of brows a week.
You know what? I really feel like if I offer threading and lamination together, it would be like huge.
Yeah, it
Yes, it
pairs
would
so
be.
nicely together. I just feel like they leave without any redness or irritation. I just feel like the lamination is so much at first, especially for a new client. It's kind of nice to remove that added element of like red and angry.
That's true. And then not just that, the skin becomes very sensitive, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, with the lamination and then on top the wax.
Mhm.
I'll think about it, girl. I'll
Yeah,
think.
no, I love it. I'm always curious. I think it's fun coming into like this like podcast world interviewing other brow artists because I am in such a minority of being like a soul threader. It's like my main thing.
That's true. I think I probably know maybe like two or three others, and that's it.
Yeah, we're
That,
a rarity, but I'm hoping that changes. I just feel like there's such a benefit to knowing both. I just think it's fun. But I
yeah.
have so much respect for the waxers because I'm I'm not in your guys' same wheelhouse because I don't do it very much. Like, when clients come in, I'm nervous when they're coming in for a wax.
Mhm.
I have my base information. I only do hard waxing. I don't do soft waxing because I just feel like there's so much element. It's almost like how you feel with threading. I'm just like I would have to go back like fully back to school to learn like soft wax. So I
Yeah.
don't bring it into my studio space. At least with the hard wax, I can kind of go around the brow and tweeze to refine. Even sometimes I'll convince a client to do like a hybrid where I'll do like a little bit of waxing and then I'll sharpen it up with the threading.
Oh, that's actually a good idea.
Most of the time the turnoff for the client is the pain element of it, which I don't feel like you experience all the time with threading. I think proper threading, that's a whole other episode, but proper threading, I feel like you're not experiencing quite as much of the pain. I think hair removal is also just painful and period.
Yeah.
But I think when you're
Baby
doing
plane.
the bulk with wax and you kind of fine tune with threading, they can tolerate it a little bit better.
Yeah. Beauty's pain.
True, true.
They know what they're getting themselves into.
Exactly. I'm like, what were you expecting?
Yep. I always say that.
Right. What are your thoughts on either mapping the brows or freehand shaping?
But that's so hard. So honestly, I think like any person, it doesn't matter what we're doing. It doesn't matter if we're in this business or not. I feel like when we are looking at social media, we want to do what others are doing, right? Like, oh, I want to do that. I want to hop on the trend. So I was actually so proud of myself that I would freehand map just with a pen. I did that for so long. The moment I started doing string mapping, I feel like my clients started getting a little pickier. Not in a bad way,
Interesting.
okay? Not in a bad way. It's just that when you start like mapping the brow with the string, it's more precise and they start looking at certain things. And in my head, I'm like, damn it, if I didn't offer this, you guys would just go along with it it's been this way, right? For 3 freaking years. The
Right.
moment I start offering this, it's like I have to show them the mirror more. I have
Yeah.
to get approval more, which I
These
always
are
say,
really good points that I never thought of. You're
well, I
so
always say
right.
always get your client's approval, right? Always. That's the number one thing. The moment you open that door is when they start wondering, like, are you really a professional? Why are
Yeah.
you asking me this?
That's
Right?
okay. That is so key. I love
Mhm.
that point so much because you almost give up your
Yes.
authority. Like you're almost
Yes, I was just gonna say
asking
your authority.
for
Yes.
yes.
Which
Oh,
I don't
I
want
really
to
love
sound
that.
like a bossy bitch, okay?
No, 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 no. No, I agree with you though. You're in charge. Like when
Yep.
they walk in, they're asking for your expertise, and when you ask them too much, they're kind of like, "Do you have any?" Like, why
Yeah, they're
are you
like looking like,
asking that?
wait, hold up.
Yeah.
I'm stuck in that place right now. Should I ask? Should I keep asking? Ugh, that's where I'm stuck. What are your
Hard.
thoughts?
I personally am a freehand mapper. I don't really map. Also, I don't know. I think that there's so much of the string mapping that is more social media based. Like I think that it looks really good on camera and it's like a fun thing to watch, but I just don't feel like the real world aspect it like needs it all the time. Do I think there's a time and a place for mapping? Absolutely. I have string map in my toolkit. I have the gel pens. I have things that I can use to map if I feel like I need them. But I also view it kind of as a crutch. I feel like that, especially if you're a newer artist and all you know is mapping, I just feel like you're gonna run into the one instance where maybe your tools run out or you're in a certain
That's so
circumstance where you can't
true.
map the brow properly or you're running into
And
issues. And if you don't have that eye for shaping, you like I just feel like your mapping could be wrong. You're not going to be able to troubleshoot. Like, I just think that you're going to run into a lot more issues if you don't have that eye for things. And I'm not saying like when I first started, mapping wasn't a thing. Like, we did not have all the string, we did not have all of the
exactly.
map
Yes.
tools. And
Yes.
so when I was learning, what we did was we would take brow makeup, like a pomade or pencil or whatever, and we would fill the brow in before they were done. And then we would shape off of that shape, which I find really beneficial and totally useful, even for the client. Like fill your brows in and then like kind of if they weren't able to get groomed or whatever. But I think that we always find some realm of making sense of the shape. But I
Yes.
think that you have to continuously evolve and not get stuck on one way of doing that.
And I feel like that's why I jumped on the trend. Just
Yeah,
because I wanted to try it and I wanted to perfect it. And not gonna lie, that shit is hard.
it is.
So I forgot to mention to you before I started brow lamination, I did take a permanent makeup course
Okay.
January of 2020. I was like, when she was showing me, and she took 1 hour just to map with the string. In my head, I was already like, I'm not fucking doing that.
Right?
I'm not doing that. Like
Crazy.
what? And this is permanent makeup, so it makes sense.
Yes.
Like you're saying, a time and a place, okay. But I'm not doing yeah, I'm no. So that's why I did hold off on that for a while. Then I felt more comfortable. I'm like, okay, let's go back in. And I took, I don't know if you know Brows by Zulema.
I'm not familiar.
Brows by,
I'll
by
be
Zulema. Yeah, she's in a big brow artist in LA. I
in.
took her training in January and it just made more sense how she explained it. So I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, let me try it.
Yeah.
I'm still doing it. But do I wish that I would just let go of that? Yes, I
It's
do.
hard. You get attached to things. It's
Yes, you
tricky.
do.
And the other thing that I think we forget a lot too, especially in the brow world, I think it's mentioned a little bit more in like the Brazilian hair removal world, but like time is money. And the longer you spend on the brow, it's cutting into your hours. We only have so many hours in a day that we can work. And also clients get impatient. I think if it takes you 30 minutes to map the brow before you've even done any hair removal, like the person's like, hello,
Very
how long
impatient.
am
And I
I going to
noticed,
be here?
yes. I do notice that, and sometimes I don't know how to handle that. Like
It's
I
hard.
yes, that's part of like business that a lot of people don't talk about, right?
That is the
Um,
coolest aspect.
because I'm like, you're not looking, are you when you're booking, are you looking at the duration time? Yeah, because it like don't rush me because you didn't look and you need to go back to work.
I saw a
right?
meme that was like the number one thing you learn in entrepreneurship is that people don't read anything, and I'm
They
like,
don't fucking read.
100% they don't
Yeah.
read anything.
And then you
Wild.
feel it, right? You can feel it when they're impatient. You can feel that they were
Absolutely.
like you're still not
So
done.
rushed, and then you're like, I'm not at my peak. I'm not doing this service as I would prefer because I feel like you're rushing me and stressing me out.
Hmm. Yep. So yeah, that's true. I've been what's her Lady Pink.
Yeah, love
Okay, so
her.
I love watching her Wax Chat Wednesdays. She
Uh-huh.
talks about the speed all the time, and
Yeah,
I do follow some of her tips
yeah.
because they do work for us
I
too.
completely agree. I totally
Yeah,
agree.
and I'm just like, damn, how do I work faster?
Yeah. Well, and then I think it's hard too when you have something like lamination on your menu. When you fill in the holes, they have to make sense. So if I have an hour slot for lamination and I'm making $100, that hour slot, if I fill with two waxes, am I making $100? Like, you know what I mean? If I can fill
Yep.
four waxes in that slot, I can get closer to that $100 mark. Like, I want my day to make sense no matter how it fills up. I don't want to
Yes.
immediately be losing money because I got too many like shaping books on my books, and like I don't have time for a lamination, or I don't have time for a tint. No, all of those things need to break up and fill in and make sense for how much money you're making. And I think that's another element that it took me a really long time to learn in the brow world.
Ooh,
I was just like,
girl.
we think all
I,
people work more hours, and you're like, that's crazy.
a lot of people don't think of that, and that's why it's important to have a business coach.
Yes, 100%. Do you have a favorite big business coach that you would recommend?
So I actually spoke to Katie. I'm trying to remember her Instagram handle. I'll
Tag it.
give you
We'll
her.
put it in the
Yeah,
show notes.
but I love her. Invested in her, and last year we raised my price. We raised my services. We changed our the names of the services so they could make more sense.
Mhm.
And she helped me so much that she's like, you inspire me because
Yeah.
I followed everything she told me to do. And she's a salon owner. She has two salons
Oh,
with employees.
right.
So I'm like, I need to see what you're doing. So yeah, I invested in her, and Katie's great. And she broke all of those things down for me, just like you explained. And that's how I was able to raise my price and know what I'm really charging, how much I'm really making out of that. What is the profit?
Yeah.
Mhm.
'Cause I think we forget a lot. I mean, obviously, most of us know that beauty school does not teach us anything about business, and that's a really hard
Mhm.
thing. So, unless you're going to beauty school and then immediately going into some sort of employment situation, you're probably fine. But if you're planning on owning your own spot at any point, you definitely have to do your homework because it's not
Yep.
a provided skill.
It's so much that goes into it.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, before we got on the call today, I sent you an email with some questions. So I
Okay.
want to kind of dive into those. I think
Yes.
one of the first ones was, what is your word of the year? I know we're a little bit into the year, but still.
So this is going to be a boring one. I wrote my notes down, but growth
Oh, I
and
love that. Okay.
getting taking it to higher levels and getting uncomfortable, getting out of my comfort zone. And
Yeah.
I feel like I've been constantly doing that this year. I'm just like,
Uh,
especially today, I was just like, you know what, fuck it, let's just do things. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing this whole year, and I feel like by doing that, grown so much. My business has grown, me as a person, so growth. And also my second one would be present,
okay.
being very
Yeah.
present in, yeah, in the moment, in the process of, growing my business.
And that's something we lose a lot when we're in the stage of growth. I think we get so wrapped up in it, we forget. I think especially in you start hitting those milestones, and then like you hit them so almost so frequently that they kind of die down, and you don't celebrate
Yes,
those small wins enough. So I love that because I
yes,
think we need to, that a way to stay motivated is to slow down and like really enjoy these things that we've accomplished.
exactly. And I feel like that also with my family, it's hard. It's hard
Yeah.
to be present with them and then be present at work because I love both and I struggle. I struggle with that a
Yeah.
lot.
Oh, I'm so sure. It's got to be really difficult because you have your passion in your business, right? And I think
Yes,
that for maybe some, they don't have that, so it's kind of easy to kind of check that off and just be like, I just want to be family focused. But when you have that passion there, it's hard to check out and you want to be, present in both. And I couldn't only imagine trying to split your time like that. So
it's
you're
very
awesome.
Yes.
Okay, and then another question was, what would you give advice to like a younger you or a younger Esty?
So I talked about that a little bit already, but investing in a business coach has helped me tremendously. I feel like you shouldn't have to overspend on things you don't need just yet,
I love that.
right? So if you don't have the clients, if you're just starting off, we're always thinking about like, oh my God, I need all these things, but like, do you really? You don't even have the clients yet, right?
I
So
literally made a post on that too. I was like, guys, stop buying every trending thing. Like, you
yes.
don't have the. I'm sorry, you don't have the money to be doing this. Like,
And
reinvest elsewhere.
and if you do have that money, turn it around and invest in a coach,
Mhm.
because that means that
You
you're
have
not
to
going to
make
make all
your
the
own growth.
mistakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not going to make all the mistakes that we made,
Mhm.
and we know what we're doing, right?
Yes.
Right off the bat, invest in a business coach. You don't need a expensive ass bed
Yeah.
or 50 pounds of wax. Like, you don't need all that just
You're
yet.
so right. It's so true. I love that advice. That's so many of us do that. I feel like we're just like
Yes, we do.
do all the things. It's so funny. Focus on one thing, get really good at it, and then grow from there.
Yes.
What are three of your favorite self-care products at the moment, whether it's in the business or outside of it?
In the business, I am loving the Bronson lamination system. I posted about it.
Oh,
Yeah, you
okay, yeah.
messaged me on it like, oh my God, I gotta try it. It is worth the hype. It is hype up. Like, it is good. I only recommend this for seasoned brow artists. Like,
That's
this is a
right.
very quick working product, and I'm sorry, I just have to say it. Like, if you don't know what you're doing, don't touch it, because you're
I
gonna
love
burn somebody's eyebrows off.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I love that warning because it's not said enough. Honestly, it's really not. People will advertise, and I'm like, I literally will have. I will ask them if if somebody asks me for like what a system that they should use. I literally will ask them how long they've been laminating. I'm like, if you're new, don't use this. Like, you need to
Yes.
know what you're doing. And I'm always surprised when like something like Tuya is like recommended because I just feel like it can be really harsh too. And I'm like, I don't know. There's like I feel like brow down's like the safest starter one because it's so gentle and everything, but it's hard. You really need to learn your stuff. I feel like lamination is a little laissez-faire as far as that goes, but some of the systems, especially something that's quick, is scary.
Yep, scary. Another one of my favorites right now is the Infinity Aqua Drops. I don't know if you've worked with that.
Yeah, I have.
Yes. But love how it actually stains the skin.
Yeah. What are you getting wear like with that?
What am I what? Sorry, I didn't hear
Getting
you.
wear like how long the longevity of the wear on the skin? How long are you getting?
Uh, I hate to say it because sometimes, clients are different. They have
Yeah,
different lifestyles.
true. Very true.
Yeah, so that's one thing I make sure I mention to them when they ask, "What is the difference?" Well, what is your lifestyle like? Do
Yeah.
you shower 3 times a day? Do you work out? Do you sweat? Do you work in the sun? What is it that you do? So I did have one client that she went on vacation, came back, 10 days later, it was still like a shadow there. So
Wow.
that's when I was like, wait, hold up, that's crazy. I
That's
need to
rare.
start. Yeah, very rare. But also, it depends on the skin type.
Totally.
So I would say, I don't know, anywhere from like 4 to 10 days.
That's awesome though. That's a good wear. I feel like 100% comparable to Bronson, which was for the longest time. I feel like one of the top ones. I feel like it's
Died
died
down.
off and it's that
Yep.
excitement, but I do feel like at one point that was kind of the top dog. So that's incredible.
Mm-hmm. And then honestly, I don't know what else I like for myself.
Yeah. What do you?
I could never live without my moisturizer.
Ooh.
Like, I love a thick moisturizer and I have dry skin. So, like I was telling you earlier, I'm not really into like skincare like that. I feel like
Yeah.
I've never really had like a skin condition that I'm trying to treat, except
Totally.
the dry skin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my
What
thick
moisturizer are
moisture.
you using?
Yeah, so my skin script, I think
Oh,
that's what
okay.
skin script. What is that one called? Hydrating
Yeah.
moisturizer. I don't know.
Totally. I love it though. No, I think that says a lot. I feel like some of us have gone into the aesthetics world for a few different things and kind of jumped around. Like I dabbled in skincare for a long time because I really thought that's what I wanted before getting into brows. Like you made clear earlier, like you're like, I've been in it for the brows and I love that.
Yes, I did not go deep into the ingredients and products
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Actually, I felt very overwhelmed at the time.
It's a lot of
So,
information.
so much information in such a short.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It's overwhelming. One last question, and I don't know if you know this or not, but is the Bronson system a cysteamine system or is it
It
dialed?
is.
Oh, cool. Okay,
It is
that's
a CTV
awesome.
system. So that's why I was so interested because I'm like, this is getting huge, right?
Yeah,
Usually it's that what is it, TGA? I like to call it
yeah,
TGA. Usually it's that. So what is the big deal? Brow Code. Are you familiar with Brow Code?
yeah,
Okay, so Brow Code actually reached out to me this last year, end of last year, and they sent me their big like PR package.
yeah.
I was supposed to make a reel for, and like I had all these ideas, and then I completely forgot about it.
Oh my god.
So it's still in a box in my closet. I still need to make it and, work with it. But then when I saw that Bronson came out with that, I was a huge fan of the Miami brand. Did you ever
Oh,
hear about
okay.
Miami?
Yeah.
I don't know if you ever worked with it, but girl, that I was obsessed with that product.
Yeah.
I
It's
was.
not
And
around.
then they discontinued it. Yeah.
Okay.
So Bronson came out with this new one to replace that.
Oh, okay. Do you find it comparable?
No, no, because the new Bronson is works very quickly.
Okay. Okay. And the other one was a little bit like slower. Okay.
Yes. So, yeah, it's kind of disappointing that they just discontinued, didn't say much.
Yeah. I know. I didn't realize that wasn't available anymore. I've definitely heard it before.
It's
Wow.
kind of like discontinuing Tuya and not talking about it.
Yeah, that's a good point. No, literally, that's compare. I honestly, it's kind of like Bronson Gate when they launched that new formula everyone hates.
I saw that, yes, and people were freaking out.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
this isn't-
these moves, and I'm like, we're your audience. Like, we're the ones buying it, don't you?
Yes, we are. Why didn't you get our
Yeah,
opinions? What the heck?
literally, it's
Stupid.
surprising. Well, this was such a fun chat with you. I can't thank
Yes,
you enough
well,
for coming on. This was wonderful. I hope you
thank you,
enjoyed your
Christina.
podcast experience.
I did. It was my first one, so this was a good experience. Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. Thank you guys for listening so much. I will drop all of the information in the show notes and I will catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.